Now we're going to have a look at Truffle. First we're going to install Truffle. It has to install a couple of packages, and of course you need to have Node installed and npm installed, which is part of Node. And then you can just do npm install Truffle. You can see it running now. Almost there. Yeah, now it's really almost there. Yeah, it's fetching also the Solk, so that's the Solidity compiler. So that's the default compiler that you can use. Okay, so now we are ready. Now the first thing we have to do is prepare Truffle. We can do this with Truffle init. So what it does, it creates a couple of directories with a couple of files in it. Okay, you can see it here below in the Explorer. That's the same directory as we see above here. And here you see the directories that it has made. Let's see, here in contracts, here this is where you put your contracts. And there's one initial small contract already, and that's for the administration of Truffle itself. So you just keep it over there. Then over here we have the migrations. So the migration is a piece of JavaScript that's used to deploy the Solidity code. So for basically for each Solidity file, you would usually have one JavaScript file. Although one JavaScript file can also deploy multiple Solidity files. Here we have the test directory, so that's for the future use when we're going to test with Truffle. And here we have a config file which configures Truffle. We're going to copy over an example contract. And a migration script. So now over here we have a mini contract. As you can see, it's very simple, but that's not relevant for the example. And we have a migration script. So here we see the migration script, which is a piece of JavaScript. Here it says require hello world, so it's looking for a smart contract with the contract name hello world. It's trying to retrieve that and then deploy that. So here we see the deploy of here the contract that has been imported. Now I've started Ganache, so we're going to use Ganache. Then we can do Truffle deploy. Okay, so you see a bunch of outputs over here. First thing that's doing is going to compile your contracts. So that sounds logical that it needs to be done. Then if you look in the directories over here, in the build directory here, you see the JSON files. And the JSON file just contains the ABI as we've seen before. So all the details of the compilation that's stored in the JSON file. Okay, then is trying to find a chain to which it's going to deploy the contract. And initially it takes a local chain, so it's looking if it can find something like Ganesh or similar. So we have it running so it can find it, and it sees it has the network name Ganesh. It also figures out the right network ID 5777, and it knows the block limit. So then it first compiles the initial migration.js. So that's this one. So that's also pretty simple. It just compiles and deploys the migration contract. And if you look at it here, the migration contract, yeah, it's just a piece of administration used for Truffle itself. So yeah, not so interesting. But it has to be deployed first. You get a transaction hash out of that and a contract address, of course. The account that has been used here, you can see that's the first address here. So it just asks Ganesh for the addresses that are available, and because it's a local system, it gets the address and also is allowed to deploy something on it because it's local. If you want to do that on a real chain or a test chain, we have to supply some private key, but now it just can get it from Ganesh. You see it's using some Gash to do that. So it has deployed it now. Now the more interesting part, so that's the deploy contracts.js, which is deploying hello world. Contract hash, contract address, and the account, total amount of ETH used and deployed, blah, blah. So if we look over here at the transactions, we will see the same addresses as we see over here. So this is the first contract and this is the second contract. And these two are calls to the first contract to update some administration. So that's this address, you can see it over here. And this is the last one created, which starts with 09, and that's this one over here. So this is the basics of Truffle.